Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on a super powerful tool that helps businesses make the smartest decisions possible. It all comes down to a fundamental challenge we all face. How do you get the absolute most out of what you have? Well, there's a science to it, and it's called optimization.
So let me just ask you this question, because it's something every single leader or manager has to deal with. How do you make the best possible choice when you don't have endless amounts of time or money or people? It's a constant balancing act, isn't it?
Exactly. The best way to think about it is like a giant puzzle, the optimization puzzle. You've got all these different pieces. You have your big goals over here, but then you have these hard limits over there that you just can't cross. So the real question is, how do you make everything fit together perfectly?
And at the very heart of this puzzle is this constant tension. On one side, you're trying to get every last dollar of profit, or trying to slash costs to the bare minimum. But on the other side, you're being held back by real-world limitations, your budget, your resources, your time, and that's really where our story begins today.
So it's time to put a name to this amazing puzzle-solving method. It's called linear programming, and it's a way of using math and data to help managers make truly rational, smart decisions when they're stuck in exactly these kinds of situations.
So what is it really? Well, at its core, linear programming, or LP for short, is just a mathematical technique. It's a tool for finding the absolute best outcome, whether that's the most profit or the lowest cost, in any situation where you have to play by a specific set of rules. It's all about optimizing your goal. And just how big of a deal is this? Okay, get ready for this number because it's pretty wild. It's estimated that a staggering 50 to 90% of all computations and decisions that happen in the business world involve linear programming in one way or another. That is huge. It's everywhere.
Now, the name linear programming can be a little confusing, so let's just break it down real quick. The linear part just means that all the math involved is based on simple, direct relationships. Straight lines on a graph, nothing too crazy. And the programming part, it has absolutely nothing to do with computer code. In this context, it just means planning. So we are literally planning our activities to find the best result.
All right, so that's the theory, but where does this thing actually pop up in real life? Let's take a look at where LP is being used, because I think you're going to be surprised at just how flexible and powerful it really is.
So for starters, think about manufacturing. LP is used to figure out the perfect mix of products to make to maximize profit. It's used to perfectly balance assembly lines. And it's not just products, it's people too. HR departments use it to solve massive staffing puzzles, like creating the perfect work schedule to make sure there are always enough employees on hand, but without wasting money on overtime.
And it doesn't stop there. In logistics, LP is a total game changer. It helps minimize the cost of keeping stuff in a warehouse, and it can figure out the absolute shortest, most efficient routes for delivery trucks or a sales team. Even marketers use it to get the most bang for their buck on an advertising budget. It's all about squeezing the most value out of every single dollar and every single mile.
Over in the world of finance, LP helps build investment portfolios that give you the highest possible return for whatever level of risk you're comfortable with. And it's also the secret sauce in any kind of blending problem you can imagine, from mixing animal feed to meet nutritional standards at the lowest cost, to blending different types of petroleum to create the perfect gasoline.
Okay, so we know what it is, and we know where it's used. But how does it actually work? Let's pop the hood for a minute and look at the core ingredients you need for any linear programming problem.
The best way to think about it is like a recipe, and it really just has three main ingredients. First, you need an objective function. That's just your one clear goal, like maximizing profit. Second, you have your decision variables. These are the things you can actually control, like how many of a certain product you're going to make. And finally, you have the constraints. These are the rules of the game, your limitations, like your budget or the number of hours in a workday.
Let's make this way more concrete. Check this out. Imagine a toy company. They make two different models. Now this table shows their constraints. They only have a certain number of hours available in the production, finishing, and packing departments. So the decision variables, the things they can control, are how many of each toy model to make, because as you can see, each one uses up a different amount of time in each department.
And here it is, the final ingredient, the objective function, the goal. The company makes a $5 profit on Model 1 and an $8 profit on Model 2. So the entire point of this puzzle is to figure out the perfect combination of toys to produce that will give them the biggest possible profit without breaking any of those rules about a department's available hours.
So how in the world do you solve this? With all of those limits, there could be thousands of possible combinations. But this is where linear programming does something beautiful.
It has this incredibly simple way of finding that one perfect sweet spot.
This graph shows it all perfectly. When you map out those time limits from each department, they create this shaded area. That's called the feasible region. Basically, any point inside that shape is a possible production plan that works. It's a mix of toys they could make without breaking the rules. But here is the absolute magic of LP. You don't have to check every single point in there. The single best answer, the one that makes the most money, will always be sitting at one of the corners of this shape.
And that's not just a nice idea, it's a mathematical fact. As this principle says, the best solution, maximum profit or minimum cost, is always at a corner point. So think about what that means. Instead of checking an infinite number of possibilities, you only have to check a handful of corners. It's an unbelievably powerful shortcut.
So, as we've seen, linear programming isn't some mystical black box. It's a systematic, logical way for managers to cut through complexity and find the absolute best answer. It takes a really messy puzzle and shows you the optimal way forward. Which, of course, leaves us with one final question for you to think about. What is the most important optimization puzzle that you need to solve?